Hello, everybody. Today, the new Shaltir event side story has come out. I'm going to be making a quick guide, or I guess like a clear video for what exactly I used and what the mechanics of the boss are. As far as I can tell right now, the boss essentially cannot be targeted, which is less so an issue for this one specific clear, the hardest difficulty. And in all honesty, you could probably just run Shaltir and Ainz alongside two healers so that you can get to that point. But if you don't have Shaltir already, what she does for the fight is she increases the speed of her and Ainz by 30%. And you increase the number of you increase the count of death sentence of all enemies by 2 when they take their turns, which is really nice. Specifically because you do want to use Ainz here to try and not only break the crystal that is disabling you from hitting the enemy, and I'll show you that once we get into the fight, but also because, of course, once you start death sentencing the boss, you also want to start increasing the timer and beating up the boss with with Ainz's skill 3. That being said, though, I do want to make a kind of like a general notice for what I saw. Although, some people will be using things like Mercedes, especially early, to try and get it clear. I did find that actually the damage of your other characters appears to matter a lot more in this fight as opposed to the other. Unfortunately, for what I've seen right now, you can't defense break this crystal, which is really, really annoying. It cannot be defense broken. Yeah, it says immune to defense break, restrict, and stigma. And you can apply, or it applies Dark Curtain to the boss, which is, of course, really annoying because if you aren't familiar with what Dark Curtain does, it's pretty much like like the additional damage or like the combat readiness push and all these things. But you don't want to have this buff, and ultimately, beyond all these things, what you actually want is the ability to hit the Priest Rattle. If you guys are familiar with the last boss or the last side story that everyone was farming, what you wanted to do was try and beat up the boss as fast as possible. You wanted to defense break it, but it feels a little bit worse because not only is now the green Clinode green, or it's earth, and now Rem loses a bit of her efficiency. Now what you're also struggling with is that you can't even target this Priest Rattle, I guess, efficiently or consecutively without having to deal with the crystal first. So in terms of what the speed team will be, I'll probably make a second video about it. But just for the clear, I found that pretty much running anyone AoE alongside Ainz and Shaltir worked out. Through the clears, I did stuff like, originally I was just doing Euphine and Cannaaaa, but I was told that running things like Mercedes, Aiden, whatever it is, was still fine because the boss doesn't do too much damage. And ultimately, even for fighting the first crystal, so long as Ainz gets his first S3 off, and it'll eventually take the turns and it'll blow up. That being said, if you end up wanting to do like a speed clear of it, I'll make a video on that later. But it appears, at least for now, the name of the game is AoEs, or the name of the game is making Ainz and Shaltir take as many turns as possible, preferably with Ainz going first so that Shaltir can, actually make use of her first turn. But from what I can tell right now, Shaltir's damage is not, like, absolutely ridiculous, but you do need her, unlike, arguably, someone like Albedo in the other fight, that some people were considering whether or not you even needed Albedo. But it does feel like, again, gaining the additional speed and the fact that you increase the total count of the death sentence makes her kind of really nice for this. In terms of what build you'll now have to run as a result of this, I'm not sure yet, but I will likely be trying Ainz as a 270 variation or a faster variation, just so that my Albedo, or I don't know why I keep calling her Albedo, so that my Shaltir can be tuned correctly. Anyways, here's the run. So this is level 5, and I'm just going to auto it. But again, from what I could tell, there's pretty much nothing that stops you from clearing this. Again, if you want a healer, and if I don't end up surviving here with enough healing, I will end up running that. But at this current level, Ainz also heals, I believe, whenever his S2 goes off, which is really nice. But as you see, unfortunately, I didn't end up regearing my Ainz to be perfectly tuned yet, because I'm still kind of on the old build, and my Shaltir that I have right now is the Shaltir that I'm going to be using for my showcase. That being said, though, again, when Ainz ends up countering here, you could see the healing. Whether or not you actually want to put Ainz as the front line, that's also up for debate. I could definitely imagine putting a tankier character or like someone like Aiden in the front as well, or a knight, whoever you end up choosing. But as you can see, the numbers are decreasing at an increased rate. I apologize. And as you can see here, giving an attack buff to the team is maybe not that helpful because, obviously, Shaltir already gains attack buff. But it is nice to give attack buff to the Abyssal Euphine here. If you want to, again, use someone like Aiden, Aiden will also give herself attack buff. For the sake of this, I just kind of used a team that I thought, I don't know, would work out well. Mercedes, Abyssal Euphine, I don't think the difference is really that important here, especially if you've already gotten someone like Ainz to his S rank. But what I will say is that, again, in this specific scenario, I wasn't really close to dying. I did actually do a run before this just to see how much better, how much worse it would be, and the results were about the same. But keep in mind here, as you can see, that you don't end up actually doing like infinite damage to him. He does still need a little bit of damage done to him outside of the death sentence damage here. So it does kind of insinuate that you can't just run, you can't just run Albedo and Shaltir. But of course, through this, and as you can see from this run, this one specific run, there is no problems clearing it. And there you go. He drops the illustration for you. That's pretty cool. I believe this is the illustration of Albedo or Shaltir, I think, leading into him. Pretty cool. Not bad. But let me take a look. Sorry, I have to make sure. Sorry, I'm also on stream right now, so I have to make sure I'm not doing anything. Cap. Okay, but for the early theory crafting of the fight, what I will say is that if you do want to run him, or if you don't want to run this team to be a little bit faster, one of two things can be done. Now, as far as I can tell, I'm not exactly sure if strays can be used in this, but one-shotting the crystal appears to be the name of the game. Characters with 100% penetration historically are always really good for fights like this, and people from the Asia server always love to use characters like strays to one-shot the fight. That being said, though, I don't know if the boss will have more attack. We'll just have to see, and actually, I'm going to gear up my strays later to tell. But from what I can tell, if you want to run or test or mess around with things like Watch Ashuri or things of that nature, that's fine. However, I am going to test right now, and I do have geared both Shaltir and Ainz here. So I'm just going to run the two of them and see if it still works, see what the time is, see if it's fast. And yeah, let's see how quick it runs. This has been about 20, I think it's been about 10, 20 seconds. So I'm going to just add an additional timer to this. Okay. Okay. Ding dong ding. All Ainz' turns. He's healing himself up. For the record, by the way, once you get into the farming phase of this fight, it really does not take a lot to, it doesn't feel like you take too much damage. My Ainz actually here is full DPS, so even in that sense, I could run her, or I could run him as the 270 fast variation. It does look like Shaltir here is doing a lot of damage, though. Right now, we're clocking it at 38 seconds, so this is definitely going to be slower, at least from what I can tell, than the last run that we did. Ainz gives himself a barrier. My Shaltir's S1 is not Molad, but if I recall, and unless if they changed it, the side story does give you all these characters at max Mola, which is kind of nice. Clocking in at about 58 seconds, 59 seconds, 1 minute. He has his skill 3. I don't think Ainz' damage here is really that significant. So if I don't end up clearing here, or if I end up getting kind of low, okay, he ended up, that's interesting. So it doesn't look like I can use my current Ainz build to work it out, but it looked like if things had been working around the same, I would be getting around a 1 minute 30, maybe just under 2 minute clear. I am going to change my build and test things around, but as you can see here, guys, this is the early clear guide for Ainz. If you just want to get it done and you don't care about the event anymore, then by all means, you can pretty much use any team combination that you want. It appears to be about as easy as the old one, but in terms of min-max efficiency, I'll come back with another video. Thank you again for everyone that was watching, though, and that everyone has been supporting, not just this video and my YouTube, but also the stream, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe. I will see you guys all next time. Thanks again for watching. Good night. Bye-bye. Adios. Why are you still here?